Alright. To beat this was stupid. Aren't we powerful? I had to basically equip ether stuff, defenses, and recharge all my fuel. I don't know how long I spent on this battle, but I had to recharge almost all my fuel at the beginning just to be able to do this, because I equipped ether things on my gears that would basically give me full protection against the weakest attack of Yang. I had to read this up. I couldn't figure this out on my own. So then I recharged, who knows, maybe like 45 minutes of recharging my fuel, and then just wailing with my attacks. This should be the last battle for a while. I saw now it's basically going to be story, and then I'm probably going to end this part. We should now accept that there's going to be very little gameplay in these parts. And we're probably coming very close to the end, I'm going to say. How much more? I don't know. But, heh. Well then, let's start over from the beginning again. You think you can beat me this time? What the? I thought I defeated you. Unless you can decompose her atomic structure, you don't stand much of a chance. Normal attacks are futile against one who has the ability to regenerate using nanomachines. So how are we going to do this now? How are we... What's Faye going to turn into id or something? I don't know. I always assume id. Now the time has come for the Great Awakening. What's this? It is our Omnigears? Damn, what's going on? Huh? Hey, is that our Omni? No, that's not it. Is that our Anima Relics? Is it trying to detach the Anima Relics from our Omnigears? Deus is swallowing up our Anima Relics? We barely even had our Omnigears, and already it wants to take them? Seems the Anima Relics have fallen into the hands of the enemy. This is the true meaning of the Anima Relics. To attain their respective animus and return to the persona. The Anima Relics are really one set of parts that make up Deus, the physical, or Deus, the physical manifestation of God. They regain their original powers or functions by aligning themselves with their destined partner. An Omnigear that has lost its respective Anima Relic is but a puppet. It becomes a mere vessel or container in which there are no contents. And this girl too was destined to become one with God. You see, Elly is really one of the parts of God as well. What the hell are you talking about? Put simply, you serve to help bring all the parts of God together here for me. You're a bunch of stupid fools. It's as if you're all clowns. You believe the legend of how our world and the universe was created. But the Ministry and I fabricated that very myth a long time ago to suit our purposes. That's a lie. How can that be true? I think you'll find that your friends' Omnigears are all dead too. I'm talking about your friends who split up and took a different path than you into this place. They were all part of God that were disassembled in the past, but once again are all gathered here. Yes, it is indeed the time for the resurrection of God. What was it all for? Everything that I have done up until now. Oh no, is Elly gonna disappear and die? Probably not. Ramses? It's just you. What are you doing here, Car? What about me? My existence? What was its purpose? There was only one purpose to your existence, to eliminate Emperor Cain. Cain's will had become too much like that of humans. He was too concerned about them. He had forgotten his mission to revive God. That is why you were created. You were only made to remove our main hindrance, Cain. But as the original living being, Cain had absolute power. To make your turn on Cain, it was necessary to focus your mind on a single point. However, being an artificial life form, you were mentally unstable. That is why we used phase existence, resentment. That is the source of your strength. And you have excelled superbly at fulfilling our expectations of you. But we no longer have any more use of you. Haven't you realized that yet? You're a piece of trash, and being the reject that you are, why don't you just leave? Ha ha ha! What was I born for? What was I living for? A pathetic excuse for a life. Why? You aren't even human. Ha 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 ha! Now, what to do with the lot of you? Well, I can't just kill you all, seeing as you have served me so well. So, as a reward, I'll allow you to be sacrificed too, to be assimilated into Deus along with this girl. Ramses? Ooh, you just slashed Nyang. Good. This is how I wanted it, Car. I am fated so as not to be able to kill myself. Now, all my wishes have come true. Thanks to you. Nyang? What's going on? He's just killing everyone? Is this fated too? Oh, everyone's here. Faye, sorry we're late. Our Omnigears broke down. Anyway, let's hurry up and save Elly. Yes, I know. Hang in there, Elly. I'm letting you down now. She looks different. What? Who got... Faye got shot? Oh, it's Elly. She just shot Faye. That was unexpected. What's happened with her now? Her hair's blue. Gah! Faye, now you hang in there. She took my gun? Why did you do that, Elly? Elly? What happened to you? How could you? Don't tell me she's been brainwashed? It has nothing to do with brainwashing. He just rose up. The majority of my body is comprised of nanomachine colony, not only for longevity, but also to unify with the mother. So don't be surprised. This much damage can be recovered rather quickly. Unify with the mother? That girl, Elhaim, is our mother. Yes, I am the mother of all humans. Elly? What are you babbling on about? Snap out of it, Elly. You're as dense as usual, but I don't blame you. So be it. I'll explain to you all about it. This Deuce is the one you call God, is an interplanetary invasion weapon system that was built in ancient times by humans from another planet. It was created as an automatic weapon which would act upon its own will to take control of a targeted planet. But you should have known this much from looking at the Raziel records. Anyway, during a test run, Deuce became uncontrollable. It released its powers and annihilated a whole planet. The creators of Deuce found its immeasurable power to be too much of a threat and hence forcefully shut it down. In order to analyze the cause of the problem, its core was dismantled and placed on an interplanetary emigrant passenger ship to be transported to another planet. Becoming aware of this, the disassembled Deuce resisted. It tried to take over the passenger ship that was transporting it. However, as a last line of defense against the escape of Deuce, its creators unexpectedly destroyed their whole ship, sending it crashing to this planet. So this is the beginning. This is explained in the beginning cutscene. Deuce knew that it would not be able to get away from the explosions or the imminent impact, and so it detached its core from the Zohar power reactor. Zohar? Yes, Zohar. It is what drives all of the gears on this planet. It is the master generator that transmits its energy to the slave generators in our gears. It is also the source of all the ether power that its inhabitants of this planet utilize. By utilizing the energy displacements caused by actualizing potential future phenomenon, this Zohar modifier has the ability to produce infinite amounts of energy. The source of all our ether power? Are you saying all our energy comes from that one power reactor or engine? Yes, but there is more. The core that was detached from Zohar, the biological computer Kadonmani, crashed onto this primitive planet. Whew, so much text and I'm reading it fast. It activated Persona, its life support planet that can generate organic material. Using this, it prepared for itself to a genetic-based system for the day when Deuce would be resurrected. Thus, the first humans were created from there, Emperor Cain and the elders of the Gazelle Ministry. Are you saying the Emperor and the Gazelle Geezers were people born from Deuce? Do you know why the Gazelle Ministry desired the animal relics in your bodies? Well, here's the reason. Before becoming human, the bodies of the Ministry were once part of the organic elements in the core circuit that made up Deuce. There were two types of organic elements. The female type was called Anima, while the male was called Animus. They were also created with the added ability to become mobile weapons by merging with machinery that was suited for use as terminal interface weapons for Deuce. In other words, those Omnigears you were using were one form of such weapons. The Ministry, which were Animus, were to become one again with their separate anima at the time of the resurrection of God. But in a war 500 years ago, they all lost their physical bodies. It was then that they decided to extract their own genetic factor from certain individuals of their human descendants who carried the appropriate sets of DNA. Also, each of them could become one with their respective anima again. Descendants? Then we're all... Yes, you humans are all descendants of Cain and the Gazelle Ministry. They were born from the persona, gave birth and propagated. They followed their inbuilt program to someday resurrect the heavily damaged Deuce. All the people in the world were created solely to resurrect Deuce? Yes, but it wasn't just to restore its old body. More than half of Deuce is constructed of biological parts. Do you remember those mutated humans? Those are all people who were destined to become replacement parts for Deuce. We humans are parts for God? Yes, almost all the people are destined to become parts for Deuce. But you people gathered here are all different. You could say you escaped that destiny by existing through multiple generations. In actuality, there wasn't enough parts for Deuce, but Krelian compensated for what was lacking. The reduction in the number of parts was due to humans living through multiple generations, but that deficiency in the human factor was made up for by the nanomachines created by Krelian. Not only that, but his nanomachines added additional functions. Deuce has thus evolved into the perfect weapon. Elly, what has happened? Why do you know all that? I am Yang, the Keeper of Time, the representative of God, Deuce. I was born to guide the people toward the path of the resurrection of Deuce. That's ridiculous. Yang was just... You're limited to your ability to understand. Yang's factor exists within all women. The one who transcends the generations, the caretaker of humans. When the previous one dies, somewhere another Yang is awakened. It is programmed into all women's DNA to be that way. Who inherits the duty is just a matter of probability, Faye. That Yang over there and I are the same existence. We are all parts of Deuce, all caretakers of humans. Let us end this discussion now. Deuce has awakened. I am one of the parts that composes Deuce, hence I must become one with it. Elly, why did it have to be you? If Yang is a part for Deuce, why did it not happen earlier? It's still not enough for her just to have awakened. Although she may be Yang, she still isn't the true Yang. The true Yang? Let's go, Krelian. All that is left to do is to vanquish this plant civilization and return it to how it was. Then I can complete my unification with the final fragment of Deuce, the Zohar modifier. The power reactor that fell upon this planet and became our genesis and now our apocalypse. The eradication of civilization? What is the purpose of doing that? Who knows? The creations of God will someday be a hindrance. That is why they must be eliminated. I am just programmed to act in this way. Come. It is time for the awakening of the true mother. Please, wait! Elly! Farewell, Faye. May you have a peaceful awakening. Well, so I guess we don't get Elly back. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Because, I mean, I see no way of getting Elly back at this point. We might have to kill her. Especially now that she's in Deuce. Whether I'm pronouncing it right or not, I don't know. I'm gonna say Deuce. So, generations of humans were brought to just do this. It's a simple explanation. Elly! Whoa! Wait! Faye! Do not release the system! Satan, wait! We are only endangering ourselves. Let's get out of here for now. So wait, does that mean Faye is the anti-god in a sense? He was supposed to be the killer of God. What's that? It's eradicating everything? That's quick. I really want to see what's gonna happen. Okay, extended part, just because I want to see what's gonna happen. It's me being selfish. So I'm gonna go to the next save point. I really wish to see what's gonna happen. Yes, I want to see what's gonna happen now. I got sight and only. Ah, sight now. God, the interplanetary invasion weapon, Deuce, had awakened its arc. Merkava was activated. Deuce began to absorb one after the other the mutated people destined to be its parts, while the non-mutated would eventually only become a threat to it, to exterminate us and our civilization. It set into action. The planet's surface was devastated by Merkava and the weapons born from out of it called the Seraph Angels. While pursuing the newly awakened Deuce, we chanced upon Faye, whose whereabouts had hitherto been lost, along with his gear Weltall, discovered together at the place where Merkava was originally located. We were overjoyed by Faye's return, but it was short-lived. For some unknown reason, Faye was found in a state of suspended animation. He did not regain consciousness. The people of Shevet and we ourselves feared a relapse of its power, and had no choice but to put Faye into carbonite freeze. Your Majesty, why do the people of Shevet fear Faye so much? Even if Graf and Id's power are comparable, it is not that we fear him. We fear the error we ourselves committed, and now we are simply trying to put a lid on it. The error that you yourselves committed? Shevet instigated a battle 500 years ago to gain our independence from Solaris. However, we became overcome with the lust for power. Fearing the war-torn people's will would no longer be with Shevet, but with the Nissan Mother, and that the people would assemble under Sophia. The Council of Elders of Shevet back then made a deal with Solaris. A deal? Yes. At the time, Solaris, or the Gazelle Ministry to be exact, were at odds with the woman who held the real power behind the scenes. Would that happen to have been Miang? Most probably it was. Fearing the increasing power of the masses assembling in Nissan, the Gazelle Ministry schemed to hand over to us their antagonist, Miang, and promised a division of the rulership over the Earth's surface. But in exchange, we had to give them the rebel army that had assembled in Nissan and also their patron, Sophia. The leaders of Shevet accepted, and it was decided that Nissan would be the location of the final decisive battle with Solaris. Shevet did not participate in that battle. Thwarted by the awesome number of the Solarian army, and with their path of retreat cut off, the Nissan rebel army ran out of options and was destroyed. Caught up in the middle of all this was Lacan, Bart's ancestor Roni, myself, and Krelian. You were also there? Yes. Surrounded on all sides, we were prepared to die. And then, the rebel force's flagship appeared with Sophia on board. She sacrificed herself as to create a path for our retreat. Sophia's ship headed straight for the enemy's main ship on a suicide attack. I like how they made grainy footage of it. It's olden time footage. Obviously, they didn't kill anyone. Apparently, everyone lives through generations. That's a concept I'm still not understanding how that's even possible. Thanks to Sophia's sacrifice, we were able to survive. However, her death forever changed the fate of 2 men. Lacan, obviously. Kralin, who followed closely under her as the leader of the Nissan sex militia, completely lost faith after calling out to a god that would not respond. "I will create God with my own hands," were the last words he uttered before he disappeared. And Lacan. He resented himself for not having the power to do anything while she died in front of him. So he began to search for the legendary power. Legendary power? God's resting place, Mahanan, the source of divine wisdom, Razael, and the animal relics which were created by that very wisdom. Besides these, there is one more legend, and that is Zohar. Zohar? That has the same name as the Zohar modifier, the power reactor that Miang spoke of, saying it was the infinite energy source of God Deuce. What she claimed is also the source of our ether powers and the driving force of all our gears. It would have to be one of the same thing. It is the place that contains the ultimate source of this world's power. It is said that only he who has the correct destiny would be able to discover its location. Losing all faith in humanity, Lacan sought after its power. Lacan became Graf, and the world collapsed. This tragedy happened because of the people's power for lust for power. I must take part of the responsibility for not having been able to stop it. And now, Faye, the one who has the same power as Graf, we just wanted to seal up that dreadful power that arose from our own sinful deeds. That doesn't explain idiot, though. What is with that freaking pendulum thing? Graf, the man once known as Lacan, sought after the power of Zohar, the one who has the same power as Graf, Faye. I had this premonition that Faye too would awaken and seek out that power, and that presentiment became reality. I have a feeling Faye's gonna break out. There he is. Currently, I guess he's in Carbonite. It's gonna happen. Where am I? Haven't heard this music in a while. Who am I? This is my memory. Doc. Bart. Rico. Billy. Wiseman. Graf. Everyone, my memories. Elly? Mother? Who are you? I'm surprised. That's pretty clever. You are id. I misjudged you. I didn't expect you, the fake person, would create a fourth persona. Fourth persona? He can't feel anything. He's shut up inside your ego. Depressing facts and truths you won't face. You're afraid of them, so you desire to completely shut yourself off from the outside world. And so you formed a fourth persona, a fourth Fae. The name doesn't matter. He's the one on the stage. He's the one who's in control of your body, of our body. but it is a useless form of resistance. Come with me. Wait, what are you doing? He has the key. I merely want to borrow it. I've got to go somewhere. Are you coming too? Come on, guys, eat up. Hey, look, it's Roni. You haven't been able to get this kind of food around here lately, have ya? Well, this is also due to my business savvy. What's wrong, Lacan? You look kind of down. What's bothering you? Who's Reen? Are you worried about something? It's nothing. I'm just thinking about painting Sophia. I don't know why I agreed to do her portrait. Sophia, you mean your childhood friend who's now the Holy Mother of Nissan? She's not really a childhood friend. I just made her acquaintance at the monastery near my home when I was a child. She went to this clinic there for convalescence. She was frail. So, what are you worried about painting her for? She does not wish herself to become a symbol of her sect. Actually, it seems she wasn't interested in having her portrait painted at first. But when she heard I would be the painter, she turned around and agreed. That's what I don't understand. I see. Then she must like you. What are you talking about? That's how women are. Right, Krellian? Hey, Krell. Huh? What's up? You're not having any? It's ready to eat. Ah, yeah. The Holy Mother of Nissan, huh? What, are you out to offend Divine Providence or something, Lacan? Cut it out. It's not like that. What? You've got to lighten up a little. Sophia first showed me that books are the best way to calm the heart. And now I'm hooked on reading. I'm not trying to brag, but I've learned a lot of things I never knew before. Lately, I've been reading this. What is it? Something I borrowed from Melchior. It's about a form of molecular engineering, nanotechnology. I believe it's a book found in the ancient ruins of the Zeboim civilization. It's a copy of someone's research report, but it's incomplete. I think there were even more wonderful things written in it, but we'll never know now. What's wrong? You don't look so good. Lately you seem melancholy almost every day. Has something happened? I don't know. I just can't paint right now. Sorry, but do you mind if we stop here for today? I see. It is not good to push yourself too hard. Why don't you rest up for a little while? I'll have Krillian take you. Even so, there was a time when I did some pretty vicious things. I lashed out at random. Everyone around me feared me, even my friends. I lived a life surrounded by people who looked at me with fear in their eyes. But she was the only one who wasn't afraid of me. She would just smile. Peace of mind. She was the one who taught me what that was and how I could receive it. She taught me how to live as a human. What are you doing, Lacan? Oh, it's you, Krellian. I was thinking I'd stop painting the portrait. Why stop now? It's the circumstances. I shouldn't be painting her at a time like this. Eventually she too must stand at the front lines, so... Is that really the problem? Lacan? Her smile. It's killing me. The more she smiles at me, the more I feel my very being become insignificant. Inside my heart there is this empty existence. Other than painting, I have no worth. Yet she continues to accept my presence. I feel like I'm getting smaller and smaller. I didn't have this feeling in the beginning. I just wanted to paint her one more minute, one more second longer. I wanted to keep on painting forever, but suddenly I couldn't. As the picture neared completion, the empty part of me started to manifest itself in my brush strokes. I was meant to be painting her as she really is, but this picture is my own self. My empty self has begun to appear within her. There. That's why I've got to stop now. Your own self? You're just running away. You can't bear it when she smiles at you. By painting her portrait, you notice the gap between your own inner emptiness and her inner abundance. And you could not fill that gap. That's why you are quitting your painting. You are refusing her. Even so, you still can't bring yourself to leave her, can you? In spite of that, why is it that she continues to smile at you? You who can't accept her feelings. You who won't accept her feelings. Tell me why. If it was me who was receiving such feelings... You're neglecting yourself too much. Why aren't you kinder to yourself, mistress? Is this really her true expression? Yeah. To people who don't know her that well, I guess. Her smile. I don't know. The smile in this picture is somehow different from the one she usually shows us. I realize the Khan's feelings are in there, but I don't think she has ever opened herself up and shown her inner self to others like this before. You've been painting such a beautiful expression of Sophia. I just can't see the reason why you want to stop. Beautiful? Forget it. This picture, it's anything but beautiful. Khan, you say you're empty. Then why do you come along with us? What we've been doing up till now are not just acts of mercy. It's a fight for freedom. Time and again, you've been through life-threatening situations with us. A man who has nothing in his heart couldn't do that kind of thing, right? Roni, you're giving me too much credit. As long as you do something to keep yourself occupied, you can ignore the hollowness inside. From the beginning, my very existence itself was an emptiness. It wouldn't matter if I were to die right now. You live, you die, that's all. Pessimistic as usual, Lacan. And now you're lying. It is just what you're not good at expressing your own inner feelings. You're not empty. She knows that. That's why she shows only her true smile. I don't deserve to see her true smile. She is the hope of the people. Their support. There is so much more for her to do. Why would she open her heart to a mere artist like me? Bro! Hey, bro. What are you doing here? Is that Hammer or something? What's up? The Council of Elders of Chevet issued a decision. Tomorrow we will leave for Soylent. Soylent? That's in Solaris. Yes. And Sophia will be coming with us. That's ridiculous. The refugees are still increasing. We can't afford to have Sophia leave Nissan. And going to Soylent, that's plain foolish. It's too dangerous. What are the elders thinking? No, it wasn't the council's wish. It was Sophia's will. It appears that she expressed this desire herself. That can't be. What is she thinking? Originally, we talked about it. Being just us. Just us? Sophia! Sophia! Lacan, what are you doing? You keep back. I know we couldn't leave Sophia in your care. I'll protect her, even if it costs me my life. Why don't you go get some rest, Krell? You haven't slept since the days before yesterday, have you? You shouldn't do that to yourself. I'm fine. It's not a problem. Look, I'll watch over her. So you go sleep. What will we do if you also fall ill? Do not forget you are the head of the Sex military forces. Okay, I suppose you are right. Elly, I am so sorry. It was my misjudgment that did this to you. I was terrified. It was like you could see right through me. Your eyes, that look. That was me that was being reflected back in your eyes. I was looking at myself, and thus painting myself. I couldn't stand it. So that's why. Oh, Elly, what in the heavens did you find inside of me? When you wake up, I think I'll ask you that. On second thought, no. No, I don't want to burden you with my concerns. Besides, I wouldn't be able to ask you. One look into your eyes and I can't say a thing. I wouldn't even be able to tell you how I feel. You are the sweetest person. Elly? You are someone who cannot bear to see others hurt by your own actions. So you hold everything in and bear all the burden. If you get hurt in the end, you think that is fine. That's what I like about you. Stop. Don't say that. If you become just another human, everyone will... Humans aren't all that frail, you know. They don't need a symbol who is just appearances only. I believe that if you have light in your heart, you can overcome any hardship. What I have been doing is simply showing people that such light exists in the hearts of everyone. I'm just a woman, and to fulfill my womanhood, I am prepared to throw away anything, even this position. I'm just playing the role of Sophia, but I am still me. I haven't changed. A cowardly, selfish crybaby. I am still the same. Could you live a lie like that and still be happy? I don't want to do that. Oh, Lacan, I want to live more honestly with myself. To be able to tell the man that I love that I do love him, and I don't care if I get hurt or rejected. You only have one life. I don't want to turn around later and regret not having done such things. Do you think I'll let it end here? We are not their possessions. Sophia, what are you doing? I am ending this. You won't need to fight anymore. So, Krellian, please open your fist, and with your open hand gently hold the people who will continue to live. Don't be foolish. We'll help you escape, so please stop. Thank you, Lacan, but sorry. There's no other way. Elly! People support each other to live. It's what brings us happiness. So share that happiness, and please, Lacan, live! Elly! So we continue to paint it. I might cut this into 2 parts. Make it easier to edit, render, and upload. We were sacrificed as pawns in order to protect their own authority. Sophia was... Is this the ideal world we've been searching for? What have we been doing? Heading towards Sophia's ideals? Is this our salvation? This isn't fair. Sophia was sacrificed for those bastards. Sophia said, if you just have faith, the path to what you hope for will open. But look at reality. God didn't answer our prayers. Is that because we didn't have faith? Even if we didn't have faith, Sophia did. Why does she have to be sacrificed? Is God dead? Is he just not there? Maybe God never even existed to begin with. Faith in God. Do not look for it on the outside, for it is something one must build from within oneself. Ha 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 ha, I see. That's it. If God doesn't exist in our world, then I will create God with my own hands. Krelian? Sophia, please guide me. I will destroy all such false pretenses of love, for you. We need to gather all our surviving comrades. We'll never beat them if we fight them individually. So let us create a country that can someday stand up against them. What are you going to do, Lacan? What happened to him? Like a crack, and then he just disappeared. Elly? No, Miang. If only you had power, you could have saved her. You want it, don't you? Unrivaled power? It sounds exactly what Graf says. Don't you want to become the absolute being? There. That's what I have sought after. Wait, that's not what I want. No, this is my very desire. Live. So this is where Faye's being held? He deserves it. Let me pray on his weeping face as if it were an idol. Heh, as if I would. Yek. What is this? Wow, I haven't seen Dan in a while. This is terrible. No matter what, this is going way too far. He's still alive? How could you possibly be? You're human too, aren't you? Darn. Faye. Oh, Faye? Crying. Huh? Midori, it's you. Phew, don't scare me like that. Crying? Who's crying? You mean our friend Faye's crying? Angry, hurt. He'll wake up soon. It's called him. What do you mean? What does Midori know that Dan doesn't? Whoa, what the? Gah, Stop! Stop it! Faye? Dan, Midori. Run! Hurry! Run away! Yikes! He broke through his carbonite encasing. Faye took his gear Weltall and went in search of Zohar. We followed Faye's trail. Eventually we arrived at the location where Zohar had fallen to earth so very long ago. Nothing could have prepared us for what we were about to see there. Well, I think this went on long enough. I wish more could have been concluded, but it's not happening. I am really wondering now what's going to happen with Elly. Faye is id. He's in search of the ultimate power, I guess. How he still connects to Lacan, I don't really know. I mean, I feel there's still some gaps in the story. And, well, let's face it, the rest of this game is basically a story with very little gameplay. I've come to accept that, and now I just want to see how the story is going to end, kind of. I don't know. Basically, Elly's turned into Miang. As far as I know, she's disappeared. Very rarely do they actually get rid of characters like that, but hey, maybe they will in this game, and there will be no more Elly for the final battle even. I don't know, and yeah, that's about it. That battle was annoying with Miang, well, with that gear or whatever. Glad it's over. Hopefully there's no others like that. It was mainly with Ramses putting my HP to 0 and my fuel not being able to recover me properly. Anyways, that's it for this. I might split this into 2 parts. I'll see how it goes in editing, and I'll see you next time where we find out what happens with id.